Hi everyone, I'm Forrest Tanaka, and I wanted to show you a photo I came across the other day that gave me some things to think about. And here it is. And this is a nail polish bottle, and it's fairly well lit and very sharp. I like that. But what I noticed was this reflection just didn't seem right. If we look at it, this curve is, of course that's the curve of the bottle, that's fine, but the curve of the reflection is a complete reversal. And so obviously what they did was they just took the bottle in Photoshop, copied it, flipped it upside down, and made a reflection that way. That's not really the way reflections work though, because this curve should actually, the curve of the reflection should actually match the bottle, the bottle's curve. So it's almost like you're looking at the bottle from below in the reflection. So that's the way it should be. Right now it's looking like it's almost standing on its toes if it had toes. So let's do better. Let's look at how we can get a photo of well, I'll just use a nail polish bottle again, but make it look right. Make the reflection look right. Now, I'm not one to really say, oh, everything has to be done in camera perfectly. There's some amazing photographers who really insist on that. To me, a camera captures data. You get that data as good as you can, and then you finish it off in post-processing. So, but, for a reflection, there's really no other way to get a good reflection in a photo except to have a real reflection. So let's take a look at how I did this. So here's the setup for this nail polish shot. I've got the nail polish right here, and I stick it in here. Now, what is it in? Well, I have a piece of white acrylic. I think it was 1/8 of an inch thick, or it may have been more, like 3/32 or something. And that cost about, I think it was about $60 from a local plastic store. And it's a little bit translucent, and it's sitting on a dark table. So I have a piece of white mat board underneath it, so that it's whiter than it would be if it was sitting directly on the dark, because it is fairly translucent. I bought it so that I can underlight certain things, but that's not what we're doing here. Notice this big thing. This is a plastic frame, a PVC frame that I just made from pieces of PVC at a local hardware store. And so, pretty simple to put together. It's just a rectangle and then 4 legs. And what I draped over it is just a bed sheet, just a regular old bed sheet, and I have it hanging over a backdrop holder. It normally holds a muslin backdrop. But I just have it wrapped all the way around and then back underneath, so it makes a nice, reasonably smooth background. Let's see, now for the camera equipment, first of all I'm going to be using a 5D Mark II here with a 70-200 lens. It's nice to have a nice long lens for this kind of thing, so that you don't have so many distortions of the product, from a wide angle lens. So we'll be shooting with that. And let's see, being that we're on a tripod, I'll put in this remote shutter release to make sure that you don't end up with a lot of camera shake, although I'm shooting at a pretty fast speed, so it's probably not a problem. Anyway, so lighting. Now the reason this is inside this frame is this is basically a light box. Which is really good for a lot of product photography. It makes a nice diffuse light from just about every angle. Now to do this, I'm going to be lighting it from the sides. Here's a Canon 580EX, Canon 580EX that I'm going to be shooting on this side. Notice I flagged it off with a piece of foam. That's to keep the light from this from hitting the backdrop. So that's on one side, and I've got a 430EX on the other side. So they're just cross-sliding. And the power on the 580EX is 1/64th. The power on the 430EX is 1/16th. And just because the 430EX is lower power, and those numbers are relative to their power. So with those settings, it comes out pretty even. And to trigger them, I'm using this radio receiver, to control both of them. And I'm using just an audio splitter. This is a mono audio splitter you can get from Radio Shack. And with this extension, again, an audio cable, going to the other strobe. And I have these little, since this is the older 580EX, it doesn't have a PC cord connection, so I use these little, PC cord to hot shoe adapters. And I just have it sitting on the little stand that comes with the strobes. So that's to fire the cross light, but I also have to light up the background. I made it a little bit inaccessible. So what I'm doing is I'm using this Alien Bees studio strobe, and I just have it sitting almost in front of the camera. It's just barely out of the frame. And it's going to be shooting straight forward at a pretty high power. And let's see, so that's going to pass through the top of this sheet a little bit and just fill in the background with a nice pure white. There is a little problem with that because it'll spill, the light from this will spill a lot directly onto the product. So I'm just going to block it off with this piece of foam core. And as I take the shot, I'm just going to hold it right here, just to block it from going directly onto the product itself. This is just for the backdrop. All right. Now let's get everything turned on. And turn this on. Here's the radio popper transmitter. Just a little unit that goes on top of the camera into the camera's hot shoe. Turn both these strobes on. Okay, let's give a test. Make sure, and this transmitter doesn't even have to be in the camera to do this test. Just fire the test button. And I can see all three strobes are flashing. I can even hear the Alien Bees. Alright, so that should do it for this setup. Then I have to mix the nail polish because it separates quite a bit. And it'll separate pretty quickly, so I have to take this shot pretty quickly. So first, I have to focus, and I'm going to just use a live view of the camera. And let's see. Have to set up live view properly here. Alright, and I'm going to be zoomed in quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, I'm actually out at 200 millimeters. I hope I said the range of this lens right before. It's a 70 to 200. And I'm using live view to focus. Okay, looks like we have focus. So, get the remote and I'll take the shot. So here's my version of the photo. And you'll see the reflection is a lot more realistic. It doesn't look like it's standing on its toes anymore. And that's simply because it's a real reflection. And that's through the piece of shiny acrylic that this bottle is sitting on. So really worth it to get one of those for all kinds of things, especially if you're doing product photography, which is really my favorite kind of photography to do. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you like the photo, and I hope you can give it a try yourself. So I'll talk to you later.